that you serve. Oh, sorry, I just got the recording message. Oh. So we really turn you into a local legend with the neighbors and communities that you serve. And we really are trying to become a referral source with our 4-step system. First, we give you access to high-end monthly magazines in specific affluent communities where you can tell your authentic story. You can sponsor high-profile content that's important to the community and showcase your expertise frequently and consistently. Second, we amplify your results by digitally geo-targeting your branding to the same high-qualified consumers in and around these neighborhoods. Third, we use positive PR to share the amazing things you're doing for our communities and your clients. And lastly, we repeat your message on local neighborhood social media pages, which really have an authentic local following. So we work with about 120 or more business owners who serve the homeowners in communities west of Denver. And actually, I am starting a publication in the West Highlands neighborhood in Denver. So I'm just part of the expansion team. And we really want to turn you into a local legend as well. And we're managing about $1.5 million in sponsorship marketing. And our clients renew at about 90% rate, which is really amazing. And I actually have a really short video. Let me see if I have time to show it. Give me just a second. How many minutes do I have left?
You're good to show the video.
Okay, it's 3.5 minutes. So give me 1 second. Well, okay. I'm sort of new to Zoom. Okay. La, la, la.
The expert contributors one of the most powerful marketing.
All right, 1 second. I had this all queued up and then.
Best Version Media has featured so many incredible people. In fact, Grammy Award winners, professional athletes, Super Bowl winners.
Amber, we don't see your screen just yet.
We don't do it because of their fame.
There you go.
We do it because they're your neighbor. And that's what makes our magazines work. Whether it's the Smiths, the Johnsons, you want to know about your neighbor because they're in your community. That's why we're going to deliver more than 30 million magazines this year. And it's also why we're one of the fastest growing privately held media companies in all of North America. There is no other competitor that has the footprint that we have in the targeted print industry. Everybody loves their neighbor, and that's why people love BVM. So why did we get such a foothold on the market? Well, for decades, each town or city had a few radio stations, TV stations, and a newspaper. So if you placed an ad, it was seen. But with the advancement of technology, advertising became diluted and dissipated. Thousands of cable/satellite stations grew up out of nowhere, along with the ability to record, fast forward commercials, stream music, search millions of websites, et cetera, et cetera. And that diluted branding and scattered messages. Old print died, no news there. But many businesses turned to social media because it was new and exciting. They found that it was very expensive and hard to make work without hired help. By the time they figured it out, platforms and algorithms changed over and over again. So going back to old media wasn't an option because the local magazine, TV, or radio stations are outrageous in cost and splash your message way beyond usable reach, wasting all of your money. So BVM saw an opening and became an industry disruptor by helping create something now called new print. We did what nobody else could do in a way that nobody else could do it. We took what worked online and put it into the predictability of print. That's why we're called the Facebook of print media. We micro-target communities and highlight local residents. It works for a very simple reason. When you get a local magazine and you know the person on the cover, or at least you know they walk their dog in front of your home or they buy groceries or you do, well, you've just got to read it. It's plain and simple. In fact, a local independent survey showed that 89.4% of residents who get the magazine read it. So when your company sponsors the magazine, people reciprocate your good deed by patronizing your business. We did other cool things to make our program work too. We use home ownership and home value as the primary demographic. Why? Because when you have a home, you have to mow the lawn or you have to have somebody mow it. Therefore, you're going to buy goods or services. And if the windows break, well, clearly you need to fix them, which means you're going to buy products and services. We did a survey and we found out that 100% of all the homes our magazines go to have floors. That's great news for flooring companies. They also have people inside them who eat, dress, go to college, get loans, enjoy spas, vacations, and other things related, which means your product and services are going to be targeted right at them. Additionally, the homes don't move, so you know where your ads are going. We're effective in making sure that your ad is invited into each home every single month, and it sits on the kitchen table or the coffee table while it's enjoyed over and over again. We brand better than anyone. Branding is a two-phased process. First, it's TOMA. Second, it's feeling good. By combining the long-term proven success model used by all major brands, we keep you present long-term, month in and month out. And we do it in a family-friendly, non-controversial setting. We avoid politics and other divisive issues and simply bring neighbors together. Most local businesses get branding very wrong. They splash out a tiny short-term attempt with a direct response mentality. And while some of those campaigns can hold some value, great brands use a sponsorship/branding approach. We show local businesses how to think like big brands. We're also cost-effective. Effective digital campaigns and direct marketing campaigns can cost 10 times what a BVM ad would cost. And sadly, they're mostly designed to be one-hit wonders. We help companies stay present long-term. That branding method can also have a very positive effect on your other advertising. So we're experts in what we do, so you can be experts in what you do.
All right, so that's the quick video, and then I'll just put up my info on the screen so you can see that, and then I'll put my info in the chat. So reach out to myself or Meg Smith if you're interested to know what areas we have publications in. So thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Amber. And thanks to Abundant Business Connections for being our sponsor. Alrighty, so I'm gonna share my presentation, but before I get to that, we're gonna start off with an icebreaker, everyone's favorite thing. And I'm gonna kick it back to grade school, and I will sit here in silence until I hear some responses. So, all right, so we just have 3 simple questions. Just feel free to unmute. I would say use the chat, but I'm just gonna say, go ahead and unmute so that I'm not sitting here in silence. So the first question is, how do you define credibility?
What you say you're gonna do.
That's what I was gonna say. When you say you're gonna do something, follow through.
When you
Trust.
Trust, yeah.
I think it's trust.
Anyone else want to pitch in?
I think like integrity, reliability.
Reliability.
Also interesting to hear how other people describe you, which isn't exactly what you asked, but people this often said your brand, want to know your brand. What do people say about you when you're not in the room? That could ideally bring up some degree of credibility.
Yeah, the reputation you leave behind. Yeah.
Right. Mhm.
Right. Moving on.
Good reputation you leave behind.
You want the good credibility, you want the good reputation.
Good reputation, exactly. So.
All right, the second question is, how do people find your business? So like, is it a more of an online source? Is it a, drive by your billboard? What would you say is your prime way of people finding out who you are, what you do?
Google.
Google, yep, so online.
Social media.
Social media, like sharing and posting, yeah.
Yeah.
Networking.
Yeah, I would say networking and referrals from existing clients.
Yeah, word of mouth from existing clients is great for us. And I was actually going to mention in credibility, hearing from someone you trust that they trust something makes me want to try it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will tell you, that is the only way people will use me for senior placement is with a very trustworthy referral.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even think the internet would give us as good a response as personal referrals, because ours is a big trust factor. So.
Very true. Anyone else for that second question? Not. The third question is, what does financial stability look like to you in your business? Does that mean that you're buying more things for your office? What does financial stability mean?
Being able to pay the bills and maybe have enough to pay me.
Yes.
Very basic.
How about like some steady work that you don't really have to go after clients. They kind of come to you and you know that they're going to be there.
I would also say investing in like your growth in the future and being prepared for world events. My other career, I'm a travel advisor, and I didn't do enough, marketing and consistent stuff when I was busy and had plenty of referrals. So understanding this like seasonality or cycles of business and preparing for them.
Like that. All right, if there's no one else, I'm gonna go into the presentation. Good job, guys. I'm so proud of you for answering. I feel like that's usually something I will just sit here for hours. All right, can everyone see my screen okay? Thumbs up, good. All right, awesome. So I asked those breakout questions because today's topic is about the chamber ability to increase your credibility, visibility, and financial stability. All right, so we're gonna dive in. Here we go. Nope, that's the last slide. Look at me. You would think I've used Zoom before. Here we go. So credibility in a business is key to helping your company attract both not only customers, but also keeping employees for nonprofits, investors, and volunteers as well. So this credibility currency, I found this online from the Entrepreneur magazine, but it hinges upon your ability to demonstrate not just integrity, but also maintain, like we mentioned, a trustworthy reputation and people having the ability to trust you. So one of my favorite takeaways from, I'll send some article links later too, but your trust account is more important than your bank account. So I like that little quote, but to be authentic is also important, to be reliable and genuine. Authenticity fosters credibility and will always be a good selling point for your organization. It also creates a sense of stability because it assures you that in troubled waters, you can be relied on. So it's okay in business, no matter what anybody tells you, to be yourself, because that's the way that you can sell your brand and keep your customers, volunteers, investors, and employees interested and trusting you. So starting with consistency, everything you do and say and think should be consistent. So the messages that you're sending out, the actions you're taking, and the things that you allow in your thoughts should be in total alignment with who you are and what you do. So credibility only happens when everything is consistent from the inside out. So an idea of this is through the pandemic, we had some very consistent members, getting involved, staying involved. So this is a screenshot actually from a South Jeffco Business Alliance group. Just seeing these people, I used to see them every month, third Tuesdays at South Jeffco. And then I still see their same faces. They still stayed on Zoom, participated in conversation, gave out referrals. So attending programs consistently. So I would like to use certain people as examples usually, but it's more of a, I know so-and-so will be at Women in Business because they're there every month. And it's like, if I want to talk to them, I know that they'll be at Women in Business. So also with leads groups, some of you are in leads groups. So if you're assigned to one of those or in any kind of group within the chamber, so whether it be a young professionals group, leads group, some kind of referral network, it's making an effort to attend as often as you can, especially if it's required by the group. So trustworthiness is my next topic. This is a figure graph from one of the studies. I'll also send this link out as well. It's a snapshot of just how effectively chamber membership conveys to consumers each of the specific company traits, as well as a baseline measure of showing people about your company. But the graph shows that 7 out of 10 consumers believe that being actively involved in a chamber is an effective strategy for enhancing a business's reputation. and for demonstrating that it uses good business practices as well. So people see maybe you on the business directory and think like, oh, well, if they're a part of a chamber, then they must do great work and have good business practices. So this, as I mentioned, I'll send out the link later. It's from a study from the Shapiro Group. It can be found online, but some more background on it is that it was commissioned by the American Chamber of Commerce executives with some support from the Small Business Network. And it's designed to determine the real value to companies in terms of consumer outcomes of joining and being active in their local chambers. So it really answers the questions, do consumers really support businesses because they are chamber members? But showing all of this, it's really important to note, but it takes time to establish your image and reputation in the community. This statistic isn't a magical poof, you're a member and you're reputable. People like doing businesses with companies that they like and trust, as we mentioned, word of mouth, but that trust must be earned and then it can be led on to next steps. So the more a business is networked within its community, the quicker and easier it is to establish a trust bond with its customers. So that is why it's best to tie back into consistency, as I mentioned earlier. Next, we have getting genuinely involved in the community. I'm going to point out a few of these pictures. So we have, this is the golf tournament. That's Liz, who's on our board. We have a ribbon cutting for a nonprofit that opened their doors. This is our Leadership Jefferson County program. There's, some of you might recognize his face. We have the governor there. And then this was from the Women's Summit where we have expo tables. This is Dr. Sullivan with her chiropractic table. But when a consumer thinks that a company's products stack up better against its competition because the company is highly involved in its local chamber, is because they infer that the company is trustworthy, involved in the community, and an industry leader. You wouldn't go to a doctor that you don't believe cares about its customers, would you? You wouldn't go to someone that does a photography business and they actually try to edit it to make sure you look the worst. So it's all about how you invest your time and involve yourself in the community. So when someone's active in the local chamber of commerce, the impression that folks get is that they're trustworthy, they're leaders in the business, and they're actually people that you want to do business with. So not just their business as a whole, but the individual themselves. So by becoming a member, you can enjoy some of the trust you get from getting together with target customers, really trying to hone in on what your demographic looks like that you're trying to target and entrust that they would be good customers with you as well. So in summary, the chamber is a great place to network and meet people who share a common interest, which is serving the community and being involved with the community, as well as being a reputable member of the community. So a Chamber of Commerce, or the West Metro Chamber specifically, has a reputation for standing up for local community members and its economy. So when your business is associated with our name, it gives the perception that you stand for these things too. As a result, consumers trust you more, and this leads to more positive impressions for your business. Next, we have visibility. So we're going to talk about online promotion, publicity, and advocacy. So starting with online, as a new member of the Chamber of Commerce, you will be highlighted in the newsletter and on our website. And when we have in-person programs, you actually get a little red sticker that says new member. So then people know that you're new and they want to get to know you and understand like what you do, since you're not a familiar face as the more consistent people that usually are there. And also just as a member as a whole, you have that access of sharing events on through our social media channels. You have events on our website and on our weekly e-newsletter, our West Metro Weekly, and highlighted in chamber publications. So from the same study mentioned earlier, I don't have a graph or anything on this, but I wanted to read this part. They uncovered that if respondents know that a small business is a member of its local chamber, the business enjoys a 44% increase in its consumer favorability rating and a 51% increase in consumer awareness. So as mentioned earlier, when I asked like, how do people find you? And some of you say online, they just Google and they're like, hey, I need someone to print my products. I need some neon sunglasses to give away at my next event. They may type in like, printing promotional items near me, and they'll come across Golden Printing or whomever. So Next is promotion and publicity. I'll share a few ideas behind these photos. This was from our Wellness in the West Expo. And this is actually kind of funny. Didn't realize this. Right here, you'll see Dr. Sullivan had an expo table at both of these events because she knows her demographic and she wants to stay consistent in her community. We have the golf sponsorship, and this is LaDawn Sperling. We have Erica Holly, who some of you know, she's actually a connector and a business connector for the chamber. She was a sponsor at a golf tournament, and this is our Taste of the West from, I think that photo is from 2018 or 2019, but we talked about that earlier. So with your chamber membership, you can reach potential clients through member exclusive advertising and opportunities for business to business advertising and publicity like posting, sponsorships, etc. So I have a few more images here. We do ribbon cutting ceremonies, and all of these are actually recorded on another ROM. I'm just going to kind of touch base on them. So ribbon cutting ceremonies, if you're celebrating anything, if you've been a business for 25 years, let's do a ribbon cutting. If you just opened up a new facility, we actually did one for, I believe it was a Planet Fitness, and they're like, we painted our walls and got new equipment. We're like, ribbon cutting. So just any kind of way we can celebrate you and promote you. We're interested in getting to know you and getting to promote you. You can also host a business after hours or a women in business. These are two pictures from, that's a business after hours and that's a women in business. I actually think that might be Amy Davis right there in that women in business photo. And then we had a Key Bank business after hours. There's also the option to advertise in our publication that's coming out soon, our visitor and business guide, as well as in our West Metro Weekly e-newsletter. You can do simple things just as sponsoring an event, aka like you're paying $25 to the local Panera and just buying coffee for that meeting and getting to kind of be like, hey, I'm trying to stay just as awake as you are. Here's some coffee. So we do sponsoring coffee for young professional morning meetings for Union Corridor. You can also sponsor things, as mentioned earlier, like the golf tournament or Taste of the West. We also introduced West Metro Chamber member in the news segments. This will be in our newsletter and on social media. That if you're ever mentioned on a news channel for really any kind of good doings that you're doing in the community, like we mentioned, if you're involved and you are doing great things, we want to promote you. There's actually a submission form for that. And we just want to share that. We also do job postings, hot deals, events. This is a sample of what a Women's Summit sponsorship sheet usually looks like. This one's from 2020. And then we also have our community impact partners as well. You can find these on our website and on our newsletter. Those are highly ranked members that are supporting the chamber on a higher level of annual fees in trade for being a community impact partner, getting to come to all of our things. They get tickets to the Taste, they get tickets to the golf tournament, all the kinds of things that it's great for them to kind of just like full-fledged be like, we want to come to these things, we want to get involved. All right, so we also have programming for visibility. Like we mentioned earlier, the consistency really comes in play here. We also have the sponsorship that I mentioned. So hosting and also speaking opportunities at certain meetings, Young Professionals, Union Corridor, South Jeffco Business Alliance. We introduced a new thing this year called Leadership Live, which is we host a program for you and you talk about something that you do that you are a leader in. We were just talking to Colorado Arts Productions and he was like, I want to teach people how they can do a live event on YouTube Live. And, it's so simple. You just come to the studio and we'll help you. And I was like, Leadership Live, it's a great way to show that you know what you're doing and that you're a leader in that industry and that realm. So some photos here, we have a women in business and get some hands raising. I think we have either our speakers or our sponsors standing up here presenting. This was a combined business after hours. I believe we were with, this was with the Colorado Black Chamber of Commerce. We hosted at the Denver Art Museum. This was a Young Professionals meeting, so you'll see some familiar faces there. And then this is our Chairman's Gala. This is Philip winning Connector or Ambassador of the Year, just getting celebrated. So going back to programming, you attend and you're visible. People get to know you better. We've all heard out of sight, out of mind. And if you just stop, drop, and don't come to anything anymore, you thought I was going to say stop, drop, and roll, but I didn't. So while many companies are looking to be seen in the cyber world and are doing a very good job of it, nothing sells your business, especially post-pandemic, as putting your face back out there, getting in touch with your fellow members as well as community members. Business is so much more than simple transactions of money and goods and services. It's roots and relationships. So you are the business and the business is you, especially for those that own your business. You know this more than most, but the client is more likely to buy when they know that you're the brains behind the operation. Like how Justin talked about Susie popping in there and being like, and she's actually talented. So, you know, why not use her? Word of mouth, there it is. So just to be seen actively participating in non-transaction based functions, like you're not there just to sell, but that is like a long-term goal, but it's just getting them to know your face and know what you do. Chambers provide so many opportunities, as mentioned, to spend time with potential friends. And that's actually, I guess, potential clients, but I like to think of you all as my friends, in a non-transaction form based on functions that will be top of mind when they think of someone like Amy was talking about. That is a word of mouth of like, where am I going to host, like, you know, my family in the future? Where would I, what kind of home? I don't know if you advertise it as home, but like, what kind of place would you put a loved one? So just really knowing what they do, and I know who's reputable, who's involving themselves in programming. So it all ties back to being consistent and genuine, a genuine person. Advocacy. So some of you may not know this, but the Chamber of Commerce takes on tough issues and takes positions on new regulations, taxes, assessments, and costs directed at small businesses. So we are a voice in the government. We have a Jeffco business lobby and a government affairs committee. The Jeffco business lobby actually represents, I want to get the statistic right, we represent over 21,000 businesses and 305,000 jobs through business organizations in Jeffco. So we partner with other chambers, other business associations to make sure that there is a voice in government. I loved this line, so I really want to share, but the only disadvantage of joining a chamber and being more visible is if you are a criminal enterprise. You should not join your local chamber of commerce if you are doing anything illegal, because everyone will find out about it very quickly. So I just love that. I think that's top note. All right. So financial stability. I'm not going to go super into this. As I mentioned, we have all of our ROMs already already posted on our website and on our YouTube. We hosted our last ROM in May, and it was Save Your Business Money by Joining the Chamber, which kind of seems like a, can you do both? And yes, you can. And there were so many different ways to save money. So I would check that out if I were you. This is financial stability plan for your business. Join the West Metro Chamber, get discounts on programs, events, and you get involved and have a greater chance of finding clients through membership commitment. So we talked about discounted memberships, discounted registration, referral dollars, affinity partners, and using all of the benefits that come with your membership wisely. And that's all recorded on that ROM. So these are a few more statistics from that same Shapiro Group study I mentioned earlier. So I don't think we have any restaurants on here, but just if you know of any restaurants that are looking to join a chamber, I thought this statistic was interesting. When consumers know that a restaurant franchise is a member of a chamber of commerce, they are 50% more likely to eat at the franchise more often. Among consumers who already know about the particular restaurant and they're aware that they're a chamber member, they get 38% more likely to eat at that restaurant in the next few months. Among those who are less knowledgeable about the franchise, chamber membership increases the likelihood by 76%. So for insurance agents, I don't think we have anyone on here today, but when consumers know that that an insurance company is a member, they are 39% more likely to know a lot about the company. As for purchase intent, when consumers know that the insurance company is a member, they are 43% more likely to consider buying insurance from it. So those were just super interesting stats. All of this to say, you can't just be a member of a local chamber and just reap the benefits and just, you know, live large, but and paying your annual dues is not enough either. So as we mentioned, you have to invest your time and effort in chamber activities and become involved. Simply put, what you get out of the chamber membership is directly relative to what you put in. And here's another quote. If a firm is to gaining maximum value from their membership, it must be an active participant in the chamber events. Chambers plan events so that it's a member's benefit. Only by participation can a firm get maximum benefit. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for joining us. Thank you to Abundant Business Connections. There will be a recording of this on our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us on all of the things and come to Taste the West. But does anyone have any questions or want to have put any input towards this?
Yeah, I have a question. You know, as I think you maybe know, Madison, my very first sales job, Dana knows this, 96, 97, was being a membership rep for the Chamber of Commerce, for the West Metro Chamber of Commerce, shortly after I moved here from Wisconsin. You know, and back in those times, 25 years ago or so, you don't have the proliferation of all these different niche kinds of business networking groups. You know, not so much of BNI, which I know has been around for a long time, but like Colorado Businesswomen, or, you know, so many different ones. So I really like this presentation because it addresses the robustness of being a chamber member, particularly the advocacy section is very important to me. Longtime League of Women Voters type person. So I bring this up to say, when you or other, maybe like Dana's big hustler to get people in the chamber, do you ever hear people saying, well, really the chamber, you know, that's so ho-hum. You know what I mean? Just like it can have a dated feel, for lack of a better word. Anybody want to speak to this to say, how do we line up against these other groups?
I mean, I'll speak just in the perspective of being the West Metro Chamber. It is something that you do have to kind of directly oppose when you hear like, oh, FOFUM, a Chamber of Commerce, they've been around for years, and be like, yes, we have been. Why would we have lasted this long if we weren't a benefit to small businesses? And I mean, we work right across the street, across the hall from Jefferson County Economic Development Corporation, and they're big numbers people, first off. So I'm gonna not try to report any numbers back to you, but they will tell me how many small businesses actually are in Jeffco versus how many large ones. And we are here to support the small. They're there to support everyone under the sun. But just the fact that we have so many thriving small businesses in Lakewood, Golden, Evergreen, Conifer, Wheat Ridge, Edgewater, all of the fun places, really just kind of shows that yes, the chambers have been around for a while, and there is a reason for it.
That's a good point.
I would also say, I would talk about it on a very personal level. And that is that, yes, I have, sure, it's been around for a long time, but guess what? I have developed relationships, and I have actually received business and referrals directly from my participation at the chamber. So therefore, I will definitely continue to be a member, because it's I don't know, it's a really good group of people. Generally, not everybody. That Joyce, I don't know. So anyway, so.
I love to hear that.
Yeah, thank you for sending the submission, the newsletter submission, and the community calendar submission information, because I forget. So
I've made it a little bit more simpler. About some people were coming to me and being like, will you share my thing on Facebook? And then I'm like, yes, but I don't think you understand how deep Facebook can go. I can't just go on Facebook, go to your profile and find the post you want shared. So if you have direct links, it shows you how to find that direct link and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
Anyone else?